Name your top 3 live-action Spider-Man. Go. If you just said Toby, Tom, Andrew, yeah, basic. Because my top 3 are Nicholas Hammond, and Nicholas Hammond. Who the fuck is Nicholas Hammond? He starred in the first live-action Spider-Man movie all the way back in 1977. What? Back in that era, DC were doing their thing, making their movies, and Marvel said, I would like a piece of that, please. Marvel cooked up a sweet little concoction for the youth of 1977 and got us all excited with this trailer.
Now, you'll see him in action.
Kill him.
No challenge is too great.
And the tagline at the end is just a mwah, chef's kiss.
Spider-Man. Now, he lives.
You thought he was dead this whole time? No. This movie is so hilariously wild and stupid. Please just let me indulge you in this film. It won't let you down. And at the end of the film, there is a plot twist that I myself still can't get my head around. But you do need context, so let's begin. The film opens by introducing us to a doctor who's just checking his patient's blood pressure. Then the background clock hits 10:45. That's home time.
Aren't you gonna take this thing off?
Sorry, buddy, I'll treat you when I'm back on the clock. And the exact same thing happens to a lawyer mid-closing arguments in a court case. Turns out he's teaming up with the time-conscious doctor to rob a bank. And they're using guns and gas. GG, baby. They also zoom in on this pin, which is probably not important, right? After the robbery that goes off without a hitch, these two little ragamuffins then kill themselves. And they do this by driving as fast as they can into a brick wall, which I think that's how it's written in the script. But in actuality, due to like stunt and speed restrictions, they went probably at jogging pace. Yeah, that crash killed them. Good luck coming up with a better fatality than that, Mortal Kombat. Fatality. Then after that tragic loss, two henchmen appear instantly to ransack the car of the cash, and they take them 2 fashionable pins. They must be hard to get. And how else are you going to sharpen your lapel game? Now we cut to the man of the hour, J. Jonah Jameson, who is not happy with Peter's photos.
Very pretty, but what good are they? I'm not running an art gallery here.
Your pretty little bitch photos won't sell nothing. Stop bringing me this fancy shit.
That's what you keep telling me, but I always see this fancy stuff.
After JJ tells Peter about all the fancy stuff, Robbie runs in with news about the villain of this film. And he's taken full responsibility for mind controlling the lawyer and the doctor into robbing the bank. JJ wasn't even fazed about the mind control, but he was concerned that the TV was taking his story.
This is a newspaper story. What are they doing?
Wait till he sees TikTok. Now, the extortionist demands $50 million, which if we count for inflation today is about $271 million. That's pretty steep if you ask me. And he wants this paid by Friday, except the movie doesn't tell us what day it is, so we can only assume it's about between 4 to 6 days that they have. And if not paid by that date, he will destroy 10 random civilians. Not kill, destroy. Peter then walks away, but in the background we can hear JJ's genius.
Use a couple of quotes. Here, it'll look like this.
I'll end the day's work for a newspaper editor. Then we meet Peter's lab partner, Dave, and he's only in one scene in the entire movie, but in this one scene, he's just a menace. Peter's just trying to make some topical conversation, talking about the mind-controlled deaths, and Dave responds with,
why didn't I think of that?
Also, like Peter, he's trying to convince me he's not 30 years old.
I mean, I am a growing boy.
I'm not buying it. Dave then hears a knock on the door and lets in a delivery man who's got a package for Peter. And this delivery guy is instantly scared of all the technology in the lab. And Dave is not helping at all.
Hey, is it safe in there?
If you already have kids.
Hey, wait.
Oh, he's just kidding, it's okay.
The delivery man needs the money for the item, and Peter is broke. The guy now is even more terrified of all the machinery surrounding him.
Hey, look, my dentist at least puts a lead apron on me. You guys are letting me walk around. Suppose that thing decides to take a shot. What happens to me?
Peter's pretty desperate for this package. He's negotiating with the delivery guy, like gonna write him a check, or maybe he can come back later. And then he finally asks Dave. He said, Dave, do you have any money?
How about your aunt's place? Hold it, I'll get you the money.
She's probably just as poor as Peter. Dave, which I think is just bored of this discourse, decides to mess with the delivery guy by moving a mechanical arm towards him. And then that scares him off, so he runs away and no one gets what they want. Anywho, back to the science stuff. They have to pour some radioactive waste into a jar to seal it, which takes what I can only describe as the longest time I have ever waited. And if you think I slowed this footage down, I didn't.
I didn't see anything.
Oh my gosh, now the lid. It's almost like they left enough time for a spider to learn how to break in and bathe in the radioactive waste. After about 5 more minutes of the claw moving, we finally see the most 70s effect I've ever seen in my life.
Cool. Whoa. Rad. Wow. Tubular.
Then when it's time to ship out, Peter gets bitten by the spider. And it happens right behind that machine so we can't see it. And then if you look closely at the hand, there's no bite mark. No wonder Peter Parker didn't go to the hospital. While this was all happening, another robbery transpired. And it must have happened close to our hero because Peter starts getting chased. And I would love to think it's Peter's spidey sense that told him the car was coming after him. But with the return of the jogging speed car, I can't be sure. Run, Peter! Or jog! Or maybe walk. I think you can just get around it. I actually think, yeah, there's a... Don't worry. And this is where he finds out he can climb walls. When the car is about to hit him, then dun-dun-dun, he's up to the top. And when he's up at the top of the wall, I don't know how he didn't see this, but the guys come back, take the pin and the cash again. After narrowly missing the thieves, he climbs back down and starts snapping photos of the dead body in the car. This is where we meet another very important character. The most 70s man who has ever lived, Captain Barbera. This guy was built just to sit on his porch and yell at kids that go by his house.
Hey! Hey! Kid, come here!
And Captain Barbera is super suspicious of Peter. And with good reason. If he claimed he was 18 years old and looked like that, I'd be pretty suspicious too. Then Peter rushes back home to May's house and oh my god, what the oh my god, that's where Peter lives? He's trying to play the broke card? Uncle Ben had some good investments to say the least. Hey Peter, your aunt's single by any chance? Maybe I can make her pretty happy? No wonder Dave was like, ask your aunt. You guys live in a mansion. He must live in the attic or something like that. Like, why is his room so dark? I don't get it. Peter then decides to practice his wall crawling abilities a little bit more all over the house while the audience gets to listen to this tune. I don't even know how they made that do that. How did they make that look so good? Then he wants to test his abilities on a bigger wall, so he heads to the city for another climb. And out of nowhere there's a robbery where he classically steals a handbag from a lady and runs off. Unfortunately though, he runs into Roy's parking. And as we know, no one escapes from Roy's parking. Not really, the robber just sees Peter on the wall and is just in awe as he slowly climbs down the wall. He's just been put into a trance long enough for the police to catch up to him and arrest him. About 10 other people also saw him climbing down the wall, yet no one knows where he went. After that, as soon as he hits the ground, boom, he's gone. We meet back at the Daily Bugle where the news of the Spider-Man has spread through the city quickly. JJ's just in complete disbelief that there's such a thing. Peter actually confirms there is a Spider-Man, that he's seen him with his own eyes. And he does this because Jonah's gonna pay up big bucks for a picture of Spider-Man. Then Peter talks up all the abilities of Spider-Man that he has no idea about because all he can do is just climb walls.
He can do the things a spider does, climb walls and spin webs. And he's got the strength of a spider, but it's all in proportion to his size. Spiders are very, very strong, so he's thousands of times stronger than you.
I hear that Spider-Man guy is super good with the ladies, have a wicked car, and a massive cock. You're really talking yourself up there a bit, Peter.
He wears a special costume.
A costume?
Sure. Well, why not? Would you like to go around with people pointing at you all the time? Hey, there goes that Spider-Man, the freak who climbs walls.
And now he has to make that too. Back at May's mansion, he has to create the Spider-Man suit from just the things he has lying around, and well, look at that, he had everything he needed. He's got pretty good textile skills. That took him like an hour to make. It takes me about 9 hours just to do a puzzle. Okay, all we need now is the photo, okay? So let's just set up the camera, get changed, and any second now, take a photo now. Whenever you're ready, Peter, just jump out. And how long have you set this timer for on your camera? I would like to know. All right. Ah, there he is. All right. Now with photos in hand, Peter goes to the Bugle to try and get some cash. And Jameson has changed his mind yet again, saying, who's going to read this garbage about a masked man? Peter then tries to argue that he stopped the guy that stole the purse. And we all know he's stretching the truth pretty thin there. While at the Bugle, Peter gets sent out on his first assignment to photograph the latest victim of the extortion. When Peter finally gets to the scene of the crime, he sees all the first responders standing around the man in the car. They're waiting for a wrecker to get him out. He's too stuck for them. Peter's thinking he's not going to make it unless we get him out right now. So he distracts the only first aider actually watching him by asking him for a blanket. Look, I don't even know. Then he uses that spider strength to break the wheel off while no one's looking, and they can get him out of the car safely. The captain spots him here yet again, and he's pretty sure Peter's somewhere involved in this case. When they pull him out of the car, Peter actually realizes that that's one of his professors. Then he kind of invites himself to tag along with the professor's daughter that has just rocked up there to follow them to the hospital. Smooth, Peter. Real smooth. At the hospital, Judy and Peter actually turned away from seeing the professor, and then when they look back at the building, they spot him hanging out the window. All right, not hanging, like sitting, squatting, maybe. We then see a quick scene of the extortionist typing destroy next to the professor's name. And he is sitting here for a while. Like, who is gonna ever destroy themselves like this? You're either gonna do it or you're not. Then that fabulous action music kicks back in and Peter starts climbing up the wrong side of the building. Because when he gets to the top, he has to climb back down on top of the professor. Then he grabs him, and instead of just putting him in the window he's out, he climbs back up to the top of the building. I don't know how Peter got away with this. The hospital is surrounded by cop cars, yet he can just climb back down at his meandering pace, get changed, and be like, oh, what happened? Judy then picks up Peter and they kind of go on a little bit of a date. It's big strides in Peter's life. Judy starts discussing with Peter that her father goes to this help group and she would like Peter to accompany with her because she wants to check it out for herself. Peter hears the word help group and instantly makes the connection to the KKK.
They have all sorts of names for it.
And somebody puts on a white sheet and calls himself a guru.
It's not funny.
So they attend the group meeting where they see everyone wearing them cool pins and they meet the leader, Byron. Sorry, it just doesn't have the same effect. And Byron's kind of like an Andrew Tate figure, like the way he's talking to these people.
You deserve to be the miserable fools you are because you'll never be happy.
Mr. Byron, I don't understand what you mean. How else can you be happy unless you try?
Shut the fuck up. Now, they didn't get to stay for the whole thing because they're not full members yet. So Judy just drops Peter back off at the chemistry lab and they go their separate ways. And what does Peter have to do back at the lab? He gets to make some web shooters. I'll also tell you, there's only one time in the whole movie we actually see the webs coming out of the web shooters. And it's not like they just don't show us that shot. It's that they just don't show us the webs coming out. Like here, did you see the webs coming out? What about in the second test? Did you see? No. Now for a field test on the poor tree. Byron's session that Peter got kicked out of has just concluded, and it's pretty much said that if he doesn't get his money, all you guys are just gonna die. Peter, still in the science lab, picks up some pretty strange signals, and he decides to track him down to see where they go. But it's Spider-Man. And funnily enough, they lead to Byron's building. When he actually breaks into the building, he is confronted with three men with kendo swords. And this is the best fight scene in the whole movie by far. He just walks over the top of him. Somehow the fight transitions to the roof and Spider-Man gets overwhelmed by these three guys. So then he has to test out a real web swing and he swings away. Did you see the web that time? I didn't think so. Now this next bit doesn't really make super much sense, but Peter does return back to Byron's building in the next scene, this time just as Peter, and he wants to be a full-fledged member of Byron's club. And unfortunately he gets hypnotized. The only silver lining here at all is that he gets one of the nifty pins. And he's also told in his hypnotized trance to never take off. Then Peter goes back to Byron's building a third time, this time in the Spider-Man attire, and instantly get overpowered by the three guys because they've traded their swords in for flamethrowers. One of the flamethrowers burns the web Peter's trying to swing on when he's getting away, and he just ends up crashing into this griffin statue on the side of a building. And he's so injured at this point, he has to get a lift from a garbage truck. Back at home, Peter rings up Captain Barbera and says he knows how everything works, he knows the story, he's hypnotizing people. Barbera's like, get down to the station right now. Then on the way to the station, Byron obviously switches all the people into destroy mode. So all of the 10 victims, including Peter, start going to high places because that's how they choose to destroy themselves. Now, Peter stands at the top of a very tall tower, about to jump off. How does he get out of this one? Judy comes and pulls Peter off the edge. Peter's spider sense breaks the pin, or the pin falls off. Let's see. It's the pin falls off. Now, Peter needs to be quick to act. He doesn't have long. So he changes back to Spidey, this time with a utility belt out of nowhere. He goes straight back to Byron's building, again, and webs down the transmitting disc. And this action backfires on Byron because he gets all hypnotized and everyone else is freed. It is a little bit strange, because imagine if I was texting someone and then I ran out of service and I just received my own text message. Anyway, the day is saved. Peter tells Byron to go hand himself in at the police station, why he stays back and snaps a cool picture with him and the three kendo dudes. They were also wearing the pins, so they were hypnotized too, I guess. The last scene in the film has all the important characters out the front of the precinct just talking about what happened. And we also find out at this stage that Peter told Captain Barbera to not hand over the $50 million at the risk of all them 10 people because he has a plan. I just can't believe that Captain Barbera listened to Peter after him thinking he's the #1 suspect for the entire movie. But we end the movie on a happy note because the captain's got his criminal, Jameson's got his photo, Peter's got the girl, and when Jameson asks him how did he get these photos, Peter gives him this beautiful line.
Simple. I believe.
At the start of this video, I did promise you a pretty big plot twist. And are you ready? There's 2 more movies! Nicholas Hammond came back 2 more times because this is a Spider-Man trilogy, not just a single film. We're missing Spider-Man Strikes Back, and then the third one, Spider-Man The Dragons Challenge? I got to see that. We are only at the tip of the iceberg, people. If you want to see the rest of this trilogy, subscribe so you don't miss any, and like the video because it helps me out. Anyway, thank you very much. Thanks for all the love, guys. See you later. Bye. Spider-Man.